word for patience in Greek, macrothumia, literally translates as slow to anger. Patience includes bearing annoyance or misfortune without an immediate desire for revenge. Patience also involves perseverance, hoping, and waiting. We can wait patiently for a loved one to return. We can be patient in the fulfillment of a goal. But remaining tranquil and unmoved, even amidst our hopes and dreams being dashed, can be submission and capitulation. Letting others act in evil ways without challenging them is enabling. Patience calls us to respond in love rather than retaliation. It's with purpose that our hopes and long suffering become powerful. Our hopes, dreams, and prayers will be challenged in many ways, but we can retain hope. We can respond in love rather than continue the cycle of revenge. Resilience is the ability to absorb or release tension without fracture or distortion. When we crack, we can become irritable or even hateful rather than keep our composure and steadfastness. We can also fall into complete hopelessness. Research has shown that increased neuronal connections between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala help us bounce back from adversity. This is because the prefrontal cortex can help dampen fear or anger being produced in the amygdala. The stronger conception of self and executive function you have, the more you can overcome fear and anger-inducing distraction. Also, the more goal-oriented mindset you have, the stronger your resilience. The prefrontal cortex has distinct areas with distinct roles. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is an area involved in planning and goal setting. Additionally, the orbitofrontal cortex helps inhibit impulsive and emotional reaction in coordination with the anterior cingulate. There's much research available that demonstrates that what we pay attention to will determine how our brain structures and restructures. Visualizing our goals, taking time to breathe, filtering out distractions, and controlling our anxiety are all ways that our brain will wire to watch and wait for our goals and desires. Without our eyes fixed on loving God, loving our neighbors, and loving ourselves, then hope is easily lost. Being hopeless often involves losing confidence and trust. The Latin root of desperation means to be without hope. Without hope, we can no longer see our dream for the future. Desperation can be accompanied by feelings of anguish, pain, and agony. Hopelessness can lead to a wild, reckless pessimism that can lead into wrath and anger. While desperation can be both extremes of the fight or flight response, it can also cause us to freeze. When an event either is or seems so threatening that we become overwhelmed, it can cause the body to freeze and go into collapse. The body becomes flaccid, heart rate slows, breathing is shallow, and we become disassociated with our executive function. It is a state that can mimic death. Desperation has negative effects not only for us, but for our children. According to a 2018 review by psychologist Mary Gartstein and biochemist Michael Skinner, when pregnant women feel more stress and adversity, as well as increased exposure to toxic elements like endocrine disruptors, alcohol, and tobacco, their children have a higher risk of depression, anxiety, and negative emotions related to aggression. This phenomenon is known as epigenetics. Genes can literally be turned off or on in utero as the baby develops. Trauma can be passed on from one generation to the next, even before birth. Desperation can be passed on even before birth.